Welcome to the world of Pandora, a place unlike any on Earth. A place where the beauty of nature is matched only by the wonder of the creatures that call it home. Today, we are going to take a closer look into the film Avatar: The Way of Water and explore the amazing world that James Cameron has created. Avatar: The Way of Water picks up right where the first film left off, with Jake Sully fully assimilated into the Na'vi culture and living among the people of Pandora. But as Sky people continue to exploit the resources of the planet, Jake finds himself torn between his loyalty to the Na'vi and his duty to his own family. Neytiri and Jake are no longer just an unconventional couple in love. They are now a mother and father protecting their family. And that family grows to include 3 biological and 2 adopted children. And it's the driving force behind Jake and Neytiri's decision to exile themselves after the Sky people return to resume their plundering. And this honestly gives the film a huge level of gravity, as it becomes not just a fantasy story promoting environmentalism, but at its core, a family story. One of the most interesting aspects of Avatar: The Way of Water is seeing Jake Sully as a father. In the first film, we see Jake as a soldier torn between 2 worlds, but now he has fully embraced his life on Pandora and the Na'vi culture. And audiences might not be surprised to discover what type of father Jake is. Honestly, Cameron's portrayal of fatherhood is pretty conservative. Jake has an old school mentality, placing the weight of his children's safety on his oldest son, Neytiri. As a father, Jake is faced with new challenges and obstacles and responsibilities, and he has to balance his love for his family and his commitment to the Na'vi. Sam Worthington, who plays Jake, brings such a depth to the character that was only hinted at in the first film. He conveys the weight of fatherhood and the struggle to protect one's family with a powerful performance that will leave audiences moved. Although Jake is the protagonist of this movie, Jake's children are arguably the strongest part of the film, because they introduce a level of emotional depth to the series that the first Avatar just didn't have. Let's talk about Neytiri. Neytiri is the oldest. He is steadfast, he is confident, he is brave, he is a natural leader. And as the oldest, Neytiri's responsibility is to keep all of his siblings in check. If something happens to them, he has to face the wrath of his dad. And similar to many firstborns, Neytiri holds himself to an incredibly high standard and is always trying to prove his worth to his father. Loak is the middle child. He is brave, adventurous, a little bit rebellious, and he definitely suffers from middle child syndrome. It's really clear that Loak lives in Neytiri's shadow. Loak is definitely more impulsive and brash than Neytiri, which ultimately leads him into more trouble. And he often doesn't feel appreciated or noticed by his family. He feels like an outsider. Kiri is inquisitive and intelligent. She has a really interesting backstory. She is the biological daughter of scientist Grace Augustine. Not long after Grace's death, her dormant avatar was discovered to be pregnant, and Jake and Neytiri adopted the child when she was born. Kiri has an unusually strong connection with Eywa, and I definitely have some thoughts about why that is. It all goes back to the question of who knocked up Grace. And I feel as if Grace has or had such a strong connection to Eywa in her study of her that Eywa gifted her with a child, right? In the same way that in the history of Christianity, God gifted Mary with Jesus, right? Mary was a virgin, God was like, hey, you're going to carry my son. In that similar vein, Awa said to Grace, hey, you're going to carry my daughter. And then when Jesus was born, he was the earthly representation of God. And in that way, I believe that Kiri is the physical embodiment of Awa on Pandora. So I definitely think that Kiri has a much larger role to play in subsequent films, and I'm excited to see what they do with her. Took is the youngest child and daughter of the Sully clan. She is so cute and brave, and she's always willing to tag along for an adventure. I'm curious to see how they develop her character in the upcoming films. Last but not least, Spider. Spider is the adopted son of Jake and Atiri, and he's basically Space Tarzan. Early on in the movie, audiences are made aware that Colonel Miles Quaritch is alive and in the form of an avatar, which is so ironic considering how much he hates them. Spider, the stray cat child of the Sully family, is the son of Quaritch, who was left behind on Pandora as a baby. And throughout the entire film, Spider wrestles with the fact that this terrible person turned avatar is his father, and he ultimately makes the tough decision to save his father at the end of the movie, which is telling because he tells no one. Another one of the standout elements of this movie is its stunning visuals. The world of Pandora is brought to life in breathtaking detail. James Cameron has once again pushed the boundaries of filmmaking with groundbreaking technology and beautiful visuals. The visual effects team did such an amazing job at capturing the fluidity and beauty of water, and it is truly a sight to behold on the big screen. From the majestic floating mountains to the bioluminescent creatures, every aspect of the film is a feast for the eyes. I mean, The Way of Water wouldn't be the movie's subtitle if it wasn't also an important theme. Similar to the philosophy in Lion King regarding the circle of life, we are all a part of this giant system, right? And sometimes we benefit from it, and sometimes we're the victims of it. But we all acknowledge that the system is larger than us. And the more we can embrace what it has to offer, the more we can find peace and acceptance in both the good and the bad. The focus on protecting the natural world, the safety of animals, and the dangers of the military-industrial complex are timely themes that are effectively communicated in this movie. One thing about James Cameron is he's not shy about pushing his political agenda in any of the Avatar films. Family is another emphasis throughout the film. I mean, time and time again, the kids put the family into compromising situations. Whether it's Loak convincing Ateum to abandon their scout positions, or going into a forbidden area, getting captured and becoming hostages by General Miles Quaritch, or fighting with the sons of the Metcaina chief. One of the best lines by Jake is, "Sully, stick together. It was our greatest weakness and our great strength." Most of the film, Jake and Neytiri are literally at their wits' end because their kids keep stirring up trouble and ending up in life-threatening situations. But it's also their children that give them hope, joy, and purpose. As much trouble as the kids cause, they're also huge difference makers, which honestly is the natural cycle of things. Parents have kids, raise those kids, protect those kids, but eventually those kids start contributing and the family is better off for it, even if there are complications along the way. Avatar: The Way of Water is a worthy addition to the Avatar franchise. The film is a testament to the power of storytelling and the art of filmmaking, and it's sure to leave a lasting impression. It's honestly more than you can even imagine. Its stunning visuals, thrilling action, and well-developed characters make it a must-see for fans of sci-fi and epic adventure. So, if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend checking it out in theaters. Until next time.